Here's Neil.
Here's Neil! Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome.
Or at least my version of Ed McMahon. Welcome, everybody. This is the THC Show. I'm your host, Neil Magnuson. For those of you who aren't familiar with the show, we talk about THC. Truth, hope, and change, as it refers to basically THC. Clever, eh? Pot TV. We're less than 3 weeks from Christmas. Well, I guess I should mention on the show today we will have 8 out of 10 Glenn from canamatch.ca. We'll do a little visit of the Healing Wave CSP RV. I think we can do that today. We have solved our technical difficulties of being able to go outside with the camera. So thanks to Anil. And we'll be able to tell you what's going on there. I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, we're less than 3 weeks from Christmas. So this is like the third to last show before Christmas. And I just want to put it out there that we here at the CSP are keeping track of who's been naughty and who's been nice. And we'll try to cover some of that over the next 3 days. For one thing, the city of Vancouver has been naughty. First of all, they're not getting on board with reality in the year 2023 of human beings being free, sovereign entities that have problems at times and would like to have natural ways to solve those problems. And Dana Larson's been providing psychedelics for people to use therapeutically for a long time now, and struggling to get the city to support what he's doing there. And there was a court appearance for them, a Board of Variance hearing, if you will, coming up on tomorrow, but it's been postponed. So now that will be sometime in the new year. Dana doesn't know why, hasn't been given a reason. In the meantime, they're still open for business and operating as usual, and as long as that's able to continue, I guess whatever. We're in the same boat. At the CSP, we have a court appearance, and now I have dates for you, finally. It's not going to be as far away as we thought it was, which is probably good. I'm kind of anxious to get this before the courts and to get a positive decision for us. So our court dates for the preliminary hearing, the brief, I guess, in comparative run-through of both sides letting the judge in on their evidence, and then we'll see if the judge allows it to go to trial, which is a charter challenge that will come up in July. So in March 26th, 27th, and 28th, we will be at the courthouse. I think it's the one right here. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to verify what the court date is. We still have some time. But we will be before the courts, according to this, unless they change it again, on March 26th, 27th, and 28th. Now, if we're, I would say, successful in having it go to the actual charter challenge, I really want to take Health Canada to task here. I think that we have a mountain of evidence supporting what we're doing here, and it's inconceivable that Health Canada would be more concerned about bottom line profit health than they would about human being health. But that's what it seems is happening. So in July, should we be allowed to proceed, it'll be on the 23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st. 7 days, I believe, set aside, where Health Canada needs about 15 to 20 minutes to give their side of why they don't think we should be able to do what we're doing. And we get the other 6 days to bring forth dozens and dozens of witnesses, lots of scientific studies, a virtual mountain of evidence supporting what we've been doing for almost 7 years in helping people get out of their addictions. We've rescued hundreds of people from addiction during that time. We have had 0 complaints about us. We have not done anything to bring any disrespect to what we're doing here. In fact, day after day after day, for closing in on 7 years, it'll be over 7 years before we're before the courts, we provide our services to people for 8 hours a day and get nothing but thank yous and appreciation from people, and nothing but gruff and excuses from Health Canada. So shame on Health Canada. You are being very naughty as well. I'm sure that you'll be probably not even getting coal for Christmas this year. You don't even deserve that. It is absolutely disgusting that you've been willing to let 7 years go by and not support what has been demonstrated over and over again is the most valuable harm reduction tool in the toolbox. On the downtown east side of Vancouver, all the other harm reduction groups understand that. They know that about us. We're not offering a safer supply of other dangerous narcotics. We're offering the real safe supply. Cannabis edibles. Cannabis edibles have way more power than cannabis in the smoked form. For people that are trying to get off those hard drugs, and trust me, there's not too many that aren't trying to get off them that are on them. Most of them are not happy with their addiction. Most of them understand that they can't make it through withdrawal, and they stay stuck. But what we are providing is a way through withdrawal. That those edibles of the higher dose than what the government offers for sure are really, really helpful in assisting people through withdrawal, and that's why we've got hundreds of people that report that they're no longer using those hard drugs because of our program. And yet, even though the city of Vancouver in the previous administration gave us a unanimous approval of a motion to support what we were doing in low barrier access, that hasn't mattered to the province of BC, it hasn't mattered to the federal government of BC, and it certainly doesn't seem to matter to Health Canada. They seem to have no interest in the fact that we've saved people's lives here, and we've done far more than that, because cannabis offers a bettering of people's lives in profound ways. One of the main things that cannabis does for people is it addresses those drivers of addiction, the insomnia, the anxiety, the pain, the mood disorders, so much more. Google endocannabinoid system and you'll understand why those cannabinoids are a supplement to your own body's system of maintaining balance and homeostasis over the rest of the systems. It's really quite amazing. But when you think about it, it does make some sense, this being a very ancient plant and the consumption of cannabinoids going back millennia, and the resulting evidence in the actual bodies of the creatures that have been consuming cannabis. All of the vertebrates on the planet have been consuming cannabis for a long, long time. It's a very ancient plant, and they've all developed as a result systems using the oil of life, if you will, the cannabinoids, to be the overseer of all of the different bodily functions that are experienced. So it has been the most monstrous and barbaric attack on human sovereignty that I can imagine, is to prevent access to the main medicine that people need for those people that are sick and suffering. I don't know about taking candy away from a baby. You're probably doing that baby a favor, even though the baby won't think so and will put up quite a fight. But when you're taking medicine away from sick people, now that is really bad. That is a really terrible, terrible thing to do. And that's what the government's been doing in Canada for over 100 years, just barely over 100 years, and in the States a little bit longer than that. And the States is the driver behind all of this. It's their multinational corporations that are the ones that want their interests protected by having cannabis not in the marketplace. And they've reached out around the globe with the DEA enforcing the prohibitions on cannabis in many, many other countries around the world, to the point where they're even executing people in a half a dozen countries if you have just over a couple of ounces on your possession. Can you imagine, governments, public servants, and they're not all public servants, but even if you're a dictator, even if you're a king or a queen or a tyrant or a pharaoh or, somebody who's taken over militarily, you don't have the right to engage in human rights abuses. You don't have the right to deny a natural medicine to people that are suffering. And as far as democracies go, public servants, well, you can certainly understand that they wouldn't have the right to interfere with the citizens' attempt to try to feel better. But this is what's been going on for a very long time. It is disgusting. The logic behind it, if you will, the government says, oh, we're in charge of, protecting the people. And there's this plant here that's harming the people. And so we have to keep the people from being harmed by the plant. So what we're going to do is we're going to harm the people that are being harmed by the plant. What? Yeah, that's their idea. They're going to hurt you so much for having a relationship with that plant, be it as a grower or a seller or a consumer. The government has decided they're going to hurt you severely, financially, reputation-wise. They're just going to hurt you way more than the plant could ever have hurt you if you'd have gotten into a long-term addictive relationship with it, abusive relationship with it, and that's not happening anyway. All of it is smoke and mirrors and lies. All of it's just to protect industry and their patentable products. But the logic that they try to feed you is that they're in charge of you, they know better than you, they're going to help you by hurting you so that you're not stupid enough to go hurt yourself not quite as much with the plant that they're trying to annihilate. And where behind the scenes you find out that, oh, well, that plant doesn't really hurt the people that have a relationship with it. Most of them think it's a pretty good relationship. Most of the people using cannabis are happy to be using it and thinking it's a great thing. Well, so, where is there any justification in any of this? We've spent 100 years in Canada with the government using billions and billions of our tax dollars, money that could be spent on really good things for the people of Canada and the world, for that matter. We seem to spend a lot of things on other people around the world, too. Billions and billions of dollars have been wasted persecuting people for disobeying the government about cannabis. Billions and billions. And millions of Canadians are harmed directly and indirectly by the attempt to prohibit cannabis. When one person gets busted for having cannabis and ends up having to go to jail for it and loses their employment and then can't pay for their housing and the whole family is out in the cold because of it, how many people are harmed by that? It goes on and on and on. And if it's billions and billions of tax dollars, well, it hurts all of us. Every single Canadian has been impacted by that. Billions and billions of dollars wasted raises the price of everything. They blame the pandemic, they blame the cost of fuel, they blame all these other things. But if they were simply embracing the production of cannabis for economic gain, we wouldn't have an economic crisis. You wouldn't be forced to figure out how you're going to pay your bills and feed your family. So all of Canadians, all of Americans, have been impacted greatly by these public servants who decided over 100 years ago that it's in their purview to punish the free citizens of these countries for deciding to have something to do with what it turns out is nature's best medicine. The most benign plant on the planet. I mean, if you were to have this plant that anybody got close to would get a severe rash that could end in death, well, then maybe you'd want to try to prevent people from getting close to that and dying if you were their servants. But there's nothing like that going on at all. There never has been. In fact, it was all unraveled back in the late 60s when they started looking into it in both of our countries and found out that cannabis is not addictive, it's not harmful, it doesn't hurt people. It makes people a little bit hungry and happy, and relaxed and calm and feeling better. No justification for using the criminal law to keep people from using it, that's for sure. But here we are. It carries on. Why does it carry on? Money. Big, big money. Those billions of dollars I'm talking about that are wasted to try to keep people from using cannabis, well, that's going directly into helping people pay their mortgages that are involved in the justice system, the enforcement system, the cage system. All that money that they're taking away from us as taxpayers are going into the pockets of a select few that are involved in the prohibition of cannabis. Courts and prisons and cops and politicians and all of these people that have the sniffer dogs, people that make the the THC testing equipment, all those people are making big dollars, paid for by you and me, to try to eliminate the use of a plant. And realistically, the only reason they're doing that is to protect the interests of some very rich people who want to continue to get richer. And be damned, all those people that aren't rich, all those people that are suffering, that would like to be able to access the nature's greatest medicine at prices that make sense for them, in ways that make sense for them. Those people can all be damned. There's people making money. They get to keep making money. So when we force the issue, and I will take credit for that, I think that we here in Vancouver and the other activists in both of our countries worked hard to expose the truth, and we did a great job. We did such a great job that we could have a third-party status, or a party that had third ranking in the country, decimated in previous elections, step forward and boldly announce that they're going to legalize cannabis for everyone. And they won a majority government on that. And the way they did it is because of all the work of all the activists leading up to that, convincing the public that there is no justification for prohibiting cannabis or attempting to prohibit cannabis, and you're wasting our money and you're ruining our lives so you can protect the interests of some wealthy industrialists. We did a good job educating the public, and they ended up voting in the Liberals based on a platform with legalization front and center. Unfortunately, politicians can't be trusted. They lie. Trudeau stated openly and publicly during the lead up to the election that medical patients would have no worries when it came to legalization. They'd be okay. They'd be able to get everything they want at the government stores. Oh, no, they don't. Almost all. 419. Cool. One more minute. Almost all medical users of cannabis need to use edibles in higher doses than what the government provides. You can't go in there and get it. And probably the vast majority, I'd say 87.4%, because that's the statistic of the made-up stats on the point, on the spot. But a large majority of medical cannabis users are also not wealthy. By the very nature of being sick, it's difficult to have a positive income. And so those people don't have a whole bunch of money. During Prohibition, they were always in trouble trying to pay the street prices for cannabis. The medical dispensaries that popped up had ways of allowing for a graduated scale of payment from free to the regular price, so people that didn't have money could get in on it. But the government scheme leaves them way out in the cold. So we're trying to do something about that. That's what the show is about. But we take a break at 4:20 because that is the time when we take a break. And thank goodness for that, because if you're on the path of legalization, you need a break regularly. Don't we, Glenn?
Yes, we do.
Glenn Wells is here. Of course he is. You can set your clock by this man.
Well, yeah. Yeah, sometimes.
Well, you've never missed. You've never been late. You've never done anything like that.
No, I haven't missed yet.
No.
No, thank God.
It's never been it's 5 to 4. Glen's not here.
Cannabis is keeping us healthy.
There you go. And it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, without it, I probably would be sick and probably wouldn't be here. I'd be one of those people that have to take a flu shot and all that stuff.
Okay, well, I guess I'm down to this later.
All right, you down to that later? All right.
It is 4:20.
It is. So that means we get to spark it up.
We get to set flame to the magical herb that presents the
Happy 420. Hey, Melody. Hey, Rosie. Hey, Janice. Everybody's out there today. They're saying hi to us.
Hi, H-I-G-H. Hi.
All my friends are out here.
I have friends in high places.
Ooh,
No, I don't. I have high friends in places, that's all.
Happy 420, everyone.
I wish I had friends in high places.
Well, we do. Just depends on, well, you know.
I guess I don't have enough of them.
Well, I don't know.
One of these days, eh?
You're here now, right? You've got a show. A lot of people,
I'm still here.
On the other side, they don't have a show like you do, so you must have some
Lucky
friends
them.
up there, you know.
Lucky them.
Yeah. So you got.
You think this is easy? You think this is fun?
You got friends in high places in the community, right? So
I have friends. I have high friends in the community.
So do I.
I have lots of high friends.
Yes. So we're doing that right now as friends.
Absolutely. You're my high friend. I'm your high friend.
Then we can rename friends. Cannabis friends. Hey, Rob.
Oh, well, what do I got to talk about today, eh?
Well, let's talk about we still need $212 for
Tubes and dubs.
Tubes and dubs. We got 2 ounces from Gusto that he brought in. That was nice with him. So thank you very much to Gusto Green. Brad Fife has said he's going to give us 4 more ounces, so we have about 6 ounces to roll.
I got,
got some
Lisa Lee gave us 300 pre-rolls, so pre-rolled.
Well, there you go. So that's great.
That's great as well.
Wow, we're going to be just fine.
And we got Green Wilderness gave us bags and bags full of towels and the cat pads and things like that.
Yeah, so that last week.
So yeah, Tubes and Dubs is alive and well and coming fast.
And thank you to all of you.
2 weeks away, by the way.
Yeah, who contributed. And remember, that 19th, the show will be at 3 o'clock, not at 4.
That's right.
Because we're taking advantage of some of the sun daylight, because being it's 19th, that's 2 days before the shortest day, the solstice, right? The winter solstice.
It's still going to be dark at 3.
It's still being dark around 4 o'clock, but not at 3.
Not at 3?
No, not at 3. So.
All right, good.
We'll get some in there. Yeah.
Although I do some of my best work in the dark, apparently.
And thank you to Tim Hortons, too, for contributing the hot chocolate and the coffee.
Yeah.
They were going to give us 2, but we usually end up getting rid of some, so I just asked them for 1 each. And they said, great, no problem.
Yeah,
right?
That should be fine.
Yeah, as long as I return the containers, I said. That I have for less years. So.
Nice. You're not even going to make you put a deposit down in the
Nope, we don't have to. No, they know me pretty good there.
Yeah,
so,
nice.
Yeah.
I was over at where Mackenzie with the Heart Eye Tattoo Society.
Yeah.
They put on meals twice a week here.
Yeah, I've been over
and it all started with us.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So I was over there on Monday when they were doing it, and holy smokes, they had like a dozen people working under that tent. And I said, well, where's Evan? Where's Mackenzie? And Mackenzie was out there being supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, hey, Mackenzie, look at this. You got a dozen helpers here. She goes, they're all from Save On Foods.
Really? Eh?
So they were just people from Save On Foods that volunteered to come down and help out.
Nice.
And they were, as usual, putting together amazing food for people.
Yeah, they do put out. Chris is their cook, is it? Is Chris something?
I think so. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think you bring
Evan is the chef, but
Evan's the chef. Yeah. Then they bring some to your volunteers sometimes too.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, that's very nice of them. So are they going to cook us Christmas dinner? Is the RV going to be open on Christmas?
Oh yeah.
You will be.
Yeah. Never close.
So
Addiction doesn't take a break,
right?
And Christmas is a really tough day for a lot of people. We do a lot of good for a lot of people that come here when they're down and out. And Christmas, not only is it no less than any other day, it's considerably more usually than any other day.
Oh, it's a Monday.
So
Christmas is a Monday.
Is it?
Yeah.
So right. we will bring as much cheer as we can to the people in the neighborhood that don't have families to go to, and we will be open on Christmas. Will we have food for them?
Oh yeah,
that's a good question.
Why didn't I ask that question? Because I didn't know.
I just did right now. I asked myself.
You asked yourself. Yeah.
Neil, will we have food for these people? Well, we always have.
We'll see. Yeah.
I don't have firm plans at this point, but we've got another, two and a half weeks.
3 weeks.
Not 3 weeks.
Well, yeah.
3 weeks is Boxing Day.
We have 20 days.
No, this is the fifth. This is the 5th today.
Yeah. No, the 4th today. Is the 5th today? Yeah. So it's 20 days. 20 plus 5 is 25.
I'd call that 24, but whatever.
Whatever, yeah.
My math has been off for years.
It's 1 day shorter because yesterday was Monday. If Christmas is on a Monday, take 1 day away from 21, you get 20.
Yeah, so it's just under 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We will be broadcasting the show the day after Christmas on Boxing Day.
Should we wear gloves?
We should wear gloves.
See if we can buy some
I warn you, I've been trained.
See if we can buy some boxing gloves. That'd be great. That's a good way to start. It's Boxing Day!
Yeah. That's great. We should have a contest where random people in the audience could win the coming here and punching me.
We'll outdo Asia. Weed fights, right? Pot fights.
Speaking of Asia, Asia's been a force for a long time. I've known her for many, many, many years. And she's doing a 420 again this year, and I don't think there's much competition for her.
Not yet.
I don't have it in me to compete. So I guess I'm probably going to take part. I wasn't sure what I was going to do this year. The people that I worked with last year that put on 420, they have not contacted me. I'm told that they're perhaps going to try to do a 420 including LPs, or all about LPs.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm not there yet. That's for damn sure.
No.
I love some of my LP brothers, but I sure don't love the LP system that continues to lobby for putting down competition. They need to embrace competition. They need to embrace low barrier. They need to do the right thing. They're not getting any respect from the cannabis community by not allowing the cannabis community to have low barrier access to cannabis because they want to protect the amount of money that they've spent to try to be LPs. This has all been disgusting right from the start, and they need to stop being disgusting as soon as they can. We need to have a whole bunch of these LPs now start advocating for low barrier access.
For the medical people.
For the medical people, for the people that can't afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to happen. It's got to happen.
And
we're gonna have to have a merging at some point. This can't stay like this forever. Things are escalating. We're going to be before the courts. They've already brought motions before the court to try to put down the indigenous supply.
Yes. Yep, they're trying to.
This can't continue. There should not be a war between the licensed producers and the cannabis consumers. I'm sure they don't want that war either. When Jimi Hendrix got subscribed to go to the army, he had to go.
You mean the drafted?
Drafted.
You said subscribed.
Well, isn't a subscription or something?
Well, no, subscriptions you usually pay for.
But isn't there a word in there that they use when they're getting people from the citizenry to be soldiers?
Drafted.
Conscripted. I'm sure it's conscripted.
Oh, drafted.
Drafted also, but I'm sure it's conscripted.
But I'm sure it's conscripted. Go and fight.
I know.
You didn't have no choice. Or you had to go to Canada.
I thought when you got drafted, you got to decide whether you wanted to sign the contract or not.
Oh,
and now you don't have a choice of which team to play for.
The only time that you get out of the draft is if you're not physically...
you're missing my point.
Okay. So, yeah.
NHL draft is what I'm talking about. CFL draft, the NBA draft, all these drafts where it involves big money in a contract.
Hey, Douglas.
There's no big money in a contract involved in being drafted by your government to go and take bullets to try to protect oil rights.
Yeah. Hey, Ray.
But when Jimi Hendrix was conscripted or drafted, Elvis Presley.
Yeah,
sorry,
Elvis Presley was drafted, yes.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix was in the army too.
Yes.
But when Elvis Presley was drafted, he was already famous. He was already widely known. And so they offered him a deal where he could serve his term entertaining the troops.
Yeah.
That's a thing. That's what you can do. And he declined.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he declined.
Wasn't Muhammad Ali also drafted?
I believe he was.
Yes.
I think
that's what made him change his name.
That's what made him change his name, yeah.
Right? Remember that? Yeah.
I think we're getting out of our realms of expertise here. I hesitate to do that. But no, when Elvis did that, it garnered him a lot of respect with the citizens of the United States. That he would say, no, I'm going to sit in the trenches and take bullets with these other boys here, and I'm not going to take that cushy job where I'm protected and I just get to go and entertain. So this is just an example of doing the right thing, and the LPs need to do the right thing.
Yeah.
They need to stand up in unison. I think would be more effective. Maybe you can get everybody on board. Why not? There's room for everybody here, right?
Yeah.
Advocating as an LP for low barrier access cannabis is not cutting your own throat. There will still be plenty of opportunity to sell cannabis at higher prices if that's what you're wanting to do. And if you want to sell it at lower prices, there's still plenty of opportunity to have a viable business doing that, especially if the government gets out of the business. Oh my goodness. All they've done is make it really difficult for anybody to make proper money. And it's not their business to stifle business. It's the government's business to encourage business, to support business, to help people get what it is that they want and help other people get paid to give them what they want. This is how things work. They work well that way. So the government needs to get out of the pot business and then people that are producing, they still get to choose high end, grow high end cannabis, sell for high prices. People will pay it. If it's good connoisseur cannabis, you will sell your cannabis. People might want to sell it to, in cheaper markets, and they'll make good money too, because there's lots of people that want that. The people that are not buying from the government stores because it's too expensive are legion. The government stores aren't doing very well. They're having to close numerous locations. There's mergers because the little guys can't keep up. They can't make money because of all the different restrictions and regulations and fees that they have to pay and all the rest of it. There is plenty of room for everybody. The government is full of shit when they try to say that they can't allow for low barrier access to cannabis because that'll knock the stuffing out of the profits of the high-end cannabis. No, it won't. No, it won't.
No.
Lots of Canadians driving fancy cars, living in nice houses, going to parties where they want to pull out their weed. They're not pulling out weed that's $1 a gram.
No, they're definitely not.
The $1 a gram weed that we have is perfectly fine. You could pull it out and nobody would suspect that's what you paid for it.
No.
But you can buy better weed. We sell better weed. You can buy weed that costs more, and that'll always be the case. It'll always be the case that you can buy weed that costs a lot of money. It'll probably also always be the case that you can buy weed from an underground marketplace if the legal market isn't allowed to sell it at better prices for people. The underground marketplace is where med patients got their cannabis during Prohibition. Where else could they go? All those dispensaries were underground. A lot of people couldn't access those dispensaries. They were all getting it in the underground and paying way too high a price for it. But the underground still looked after people way better than the government does. The government doesn't care. They care about padding the pockets of the friends that they have that are already rich, that want in on the boondoggle or the boom.
There's no government official out there that'll go and make you a dozen brownies so that you can feel better for yourself. Whereas your neighbor who's got a bag would be more willing to do something like that, because people in the cannabis community have heart. There's a lot of us that
those
have heart.
medical dispensaries were there for the people that needed it and couldn't get access.
Yeah.
Nobody was going around putting their name into a business, having all their assets tied to the business that was illegal and likely to end up getting busted and then losing everything, unless they had some, well, I shouldn't say that, because some of them did think they were going to make huge dollars out of it, and some of them did. But most of them were there because they wanted to help the people that couldn't get access. And even most of the people that went into it for the big bucks, by the time they'd been into it for several months, they were empathetic and compassionate towards their clientele that couldn't afford the prices and would make arrangements to be able to look after them.
That's because they got to meet their clientele eventually.
That's right.
And they heard the stories of what some of their clientele was going through and stuff like that, which
good point.
Them, right?
Good point.
Yes, right.
You think that
our views, we think that we're poor, but if we go to a third world country, we come back here thinking, hey man, we got a lot.
Oh yeah,
right.
We have so much to feel blessed for sure.
Yeah.
We
have a squeaky door this week. Yeah.
We ordered it for Halloween and it came late, so. And that's not the truth. If you're watching this show to hear the truth, well, you get to hear the truth sometimes, but sometimes you get me joking about stuff. So you got to understand that I'm a bit of a joker,
squeaky door,
and I don't always tell the truth if I can get a laugh out of it. But I always pretty much try to do it in a way that you know I'm not telling the truth. And if I'm not sure that you don't know I'm telling the truth, then I'll tell you.
No.
There's a whole story behind it. Yeah. No,
in.
just no. It's okay.
All right.
There's nobody here. It's just us chickens. We are going to have guests on shortly here.
Yeah.
And they are in the studio. Yeah. And they'll activate the squeaky door, and it's okay.
It's all right.
Even
I did that this morning.
You have no choice. You have no choice.
Yeah.
It's and that's what Glenn was going to try to explain. Is that's kind of my alarm.
Yeah.
That if I'm not paying attention, I hear the door squeak. But it's more than that. It's cold outside, darn it. And so that if the door doesn't close all the way, That's not good.
No.
It gets cold in here really quick.
Yes.
So, I like to be able to hear that door when it gets to that last little spot there, that it's either closed or not closed. So we can,
unless you do it like George.
So we can
George
get it right.
will open it without squeaking and close it without squeaking.
Oh, does he now?
Yeah, well, you just got to
Nobody else knows that, though.
Oh, really? Oh, well, he's been telling me.
Oh, dear.
Now I know.
I got to talk to George.
Now I know. And I messaged him because we were going to be live, so now he knows too.
So, where were we before we got so sidetracked? We were talking about Asia, and we were talking about 420 this year.
Yes.
And so 420 is going to be a 3-day event in Vancouver.
Is it?
Of course, 420 is 420. It's on that particular day that is the 20th of April. And that will be held in a park, not that park or even that park. It'll be held in a park. And there'll be free vending, so no vendors' fees. There's going to be opportunity for many of the grassroots legacy cannabis crusaders, if you will, to be able to present to the audience and to have some stage time, and that's all being worked out. There, I think, is still an opportunity to do some sponsoring. Mm-hmm. Get your name up on the stage or something like that. I mean, there's going to be a stage, there's going to be a sound system, there's going to be porta potties, there's going to be things that cost money. So money still needs to be raised. And so check out all of that. I would imagine you could go to 3 Happy Cats and get more information about that.
And she contributed a gift that we can give away next week.
That's right.
Right, so we have a T-shirt and a pouch.
We'll show you that next week.
Yes,
really?
but I was thinking of how. I thought I put it there. Oh, it's right there. It's right there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of how could we do this. So this week we'll ask them a question.
Well,
and
420 is a long ways away.
It's only a T-shirt and some rolling papers.
So let's wait till we have more.
Really?
Sure.
Well, okay.
It's early yet. I don't know what all this is about.
I don't know.
Starting all this so early.
It out there already. It's 4 months before it, I guess. I mean, that's where.
For 20 years, I was involved in organizing 420. We didn't even talk about it till after Christmas.
Yeah.
We get together shortly after New Year's, and then we'd have our first meeting.
But we can do it.
And all of that stuff. So I'm not in a big rush.
Okay.
To
let's give it away before Christmas. It could be a nice gift for somebody for Christmas.
You think so?
Yeah. It's a T-shirt and a pouch and some rolling papers and a lighter holder and all kinds of little things.
Everybody's already getting a bunch of gifts for Christmas.
So this will be one that they didn't expect.
We could give them a gift after Christmas.
We could.
We
can do it on Boxing Day.
I want to do it. No, I want to do it next year.
Next year. All right. Well, you're the boss. We got the gift.
420 this year already happened.
So you're not going to lose this gift between now and then.
I'm not going to lose the gift.
All right.
And I will do a good job promoting 420.
All right.
We'll talk about it, whatever's going on as we get closer.
Thank you, Shirley.
But, I was not in a big rush to make up my mind about what I was going to do for 420, and I still haven't, But, I'm sure that we will on Pot TV be promoting, especially what looks like will be the grassroots 420, because that still needs to be promoted, and I think that's where people want to be, is where, where the old people are.
Yeah, where the old people are. Right.
Yeah.
Legacy. We're legacy people. Okay, we're not old. We're not.
It just hit me that I'm an old person now. I guess I should be thinking about having a little nap.
I think we should give him another dab.
So for those of you who think,
the more you do it, the better.
For those of you who think, boy, Neil sure looks tired.
Jeez.
I'm sure that's what you're thinking out there. That's how I'm feeling about it anyway. I am tired, damn it. I'm tired of this whole nasty battle of trying to get a government that should be supporting us to support us that won't. But mostly I'm tired because, there's another bad actor here. As I said, we're trying to keep track for the next few weeks of who's been naughty and who's been nice. And the City of Vancouver parking people were not nice. They were not nice. They decided that they were going to make us move without coming and just talking to me about it. All of a sudden, we're getting tickets every day. All of a sudden, we can't have the canopy up for people. All of a sudden, now they're going to change it into passenger-only zone, and now they're finally going to talk to me. Because I was resisting all of their other stuff. I was still parking there during the daytime and paying the tickets that they were giving me. I was parking it overnight, even though they started giving me tickets for parking overnight, because apparently you can't do that, which I never knew. But at that point, I decided to move it every night. So, and then when they actually talked to me about what the harassment was about, that they wanted to have places for emergency vehicles to stop in the block, because construction has taken all but one lane during the day. And they had had complaints from the people, the older Asian people in that semi-care home there, about not being able to access their handy dart and their pickups. I think that's fine reasoning. I think that's I completely understood that. They should have come and talked to me before I had to pay $1,000 in fines.
Exactly. But
because that conversation resulted in me saying, I agree with all of that. I don't want to take this space up if it's needed for emergency vehicles, and I don't want these people to have to walk up to the lane to get their handy dart that has to block traffic for a while. I think it's a great idea that we not park there.
Yeah.
But I said I can't be parked over on Hastings because that triggers people, and we need to be here in this street here. And they said, well, you can park up past the lane there. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Why did I have to pay a whole bunch of tickets for? Why did you have to tow my vehicle away on me and harass me and tell me you weren't harassing me when you were?
Because they're robots, they get told what to do. And then once you resisted, somebody higher above got word of what you were doing, and then they made the executive decision to say, okay, move up the
So I think we've been 4 weeks now without any more tickets.
That's great.
But I have to move the darn thing every night. And,
Dude,
once I started moving it, I realized that this is the best thing to do anyway. We were getting it broken into almost every week, sometimes 2-3 days in a row, breaking my glass, making huge messes in there. It was getting so disheartening is the right word to use, I think, for me and my staff, that we constantly get broken into there. And so do many other cars in the neighborhood. That's not just targeting us. That's targeting any other vehicle that looks susceptible in this neighborhood. The break-ins around here are disgusting. There's broken glass on every street. But so now, because of the city, I've got to take the RV away at night. And I did that, and then after a few nights of doing that, I'm thinking, you know what, this is the right thing to do anyway. And then some. Oh man, I could use a whole bunch of different names, but Auntie Barbie's probably watching. And,
maybe.
And although
close your ears.
Although it's justified, that creep, twice in a row, I got him on video. Watched him break into the RV there, smash my window out, take his skateboard and just boom it through the window. At 9 o'clock at night. I hadn't moved the RV yet. I have to be careful when I move the RV. If I've got stuff to do out and about after work, I need to do it with my car before I move the RV, because if I move the RV and then take my car out to get stuff, now I don't have a parking spot secured and I will lose it, and it gets very difficult to get it back. Right now I've been hanging on to the same parking spot because as soon as I move the RV out, I move my car in. As soon as I move my car out, I move the RV in. But I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do that.
Yeah.
Because I still need a parking spot for my car when I move it out, and at 6 o'clock, all the spots are gone.
They're all gone.
By 5:45, they're pretty much all gone.
I had a thought, will the RV fit in the covered parking lot? Do you think maybe the parking lot?
They still get broken into there. The security guy told me they still get cars broken into there.
Oh yeah.
It won't fit in there.
It won't fit
in there. I've got a good place to park it.
I know that they close those things for a certain amount of hours.
Yeah, they don't close them to people that can climb over the walls in the back.
Yeah.
They close them to cars that can drive in. And people sneak
in.
into
But if
those.
I'm a robber, I'm going to hit a car that's on the road and climb into a parking lot.
Cars that are on the roads are more.
Got cameras and system that I could be spotted, right? More of the random.
They're able to sneak around those cameras in those parking areas. Some of them. On the road, you're not safe. There's people walking by. There's cars walking by. We're 1 block, not even a block away from the police station right here. So. After getting the thing broken into at 9 o'clock at night, now I have a new plan. I always get new plans.
Good. New plans are good.
Yeah, new plans have to happen because, old plans don't work so good. So now, if they're going to break in at 9 o'clock in the evening, what I do is I take that brand new window that I got, which my glass guy tells me is the last 1984 Ford driver's door window available in Canada.
Oh, wow. So he said, hold it down now?
He said, don't get this window broken. We won't be able to replace it for you.
Oh, wow.
So now, at the end of the day, and in fact, during the day, my staff doesn't always take the wood out of there, but I built a wood thing to go in and just got screws on the inside that tighten it up, and it's hard to get off there. So I just put that in at the end of the day.
Yeah, so you roll down the
I
window.
roll down the window.
Yeah, so that's good.
Put the wood in there.
Yeah.
Now if they're going to break in, they'll break through the wood. I don't care. I can make another one of those easy enough.
Yeah,
There's going to be trees in Canada for a while.
We'll make it out of hemp.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? So, now I got that one covered. We'll see where it goes from there. But at this point, I'm protecting my window. The RV has to move at night. And my whole point of all this is I'm tired, damn it. This old guy getting up at 5 o'clock every morning to go move that
stay
RV.
up till 5 and sleep till 11 then.
Oh,
no, eh? You couldn't watch them sports till 5 in the morning?
no.
Oh, come on.
Sports is my other big. In fact,
Yes, I know.
in fact,
There you go.
sports is also my next big nemesis.
There you go.
Vancouver Canucks, they're a 500 team for the last 10, 15 games here. They win one, they lose one, they win one, they lose one, they win one, they lose one every time. But they're keeping up still with the big boys for the most part. They're still in the top 5 or 6 in the NHL. They're not that many points out of first.
They're second place. They're in second place.
In the West.
Yeah, in the West.
In the West. We got the Rangers and the Bruins in the East there that are a little farther ahead than the Golden Knights. I'm not willing to be hurt again. I don't believe they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but I'm on the bandwagon for having a good year. They're a fun team to watch. Oh my goodness, they got 6 players, all of which are going to be really hard to keep off of the All-Star team.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the defenseman, who's the leading scorer in the National Hockey League 5-on-5.
Yeah.
And it's not Quinn Hughes.
No.
It's Philip Hronek.
Oh.
Philip Hronek, of all skaters, including forwards, is scoring at a higher pace 5-on-5 than anybody else.
Wow.
And then there's Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
The best plus minus.
Yeah.
Leads all NHL defensemen in goals. Right there with Cale Makar for points.
And his brother.
Well, he's ahead of his brother.
Is he? I thought they were Max.
And his other brother's a forward, and he's got more points than
They're all here today.
And they're all here today for the game tonight.
They're here for the game tonight. Yeah.
And Luke Hughes, who's the other Hughes defenseman, he's not piling up the points, although he's not slacking either. I mean, he's got more than most first year players. He's just a kid, tall, lanky kid. But man, does he have moves, and he is going to be fantastic as well. But right now, Quinn Hughes is the leading Norris candidate.
Yeah.
So how do you deny him the All-Star team? Then there's JT Miller, who's in the top 5 in scoring. And then there's Brock Besser, who leads the league in goals.
Yeah.
And who am I forgetting? Oh, Thatcher Demko.
Oh, yes.
So we've got the leading Vezina candidate as well on the Vancouver Canucks.
And did you see the...
So how do you get 6 players from one team into the All-Star game? I don't think you can do that.
Well,
how do you say no to any one of those 6 players with what they got going on?
So 2 each period.
Oh, I think they should all be there.
Did you see the Pittsburgh Penguin goalie score his goal?
I did see that.
I see that. Hey, wow.
There's lots of strange things going on in the National Hockey League.
I know. And it was the first time ever for Pittsburgh that their goalie ever scored a goal.
Goalies don't usually score.
No, I did that. That's where I remember it. I scored a goal, too, for the Rexdale Ramparts as a goalie.
Nice.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah,
that must be so awesome as a goalie.
I didn't know until I got in the dressing room that I did it.
No.
The kids I told
You just shot the puck down the ice.
Yeah. And
you weren't going for the net.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they said, oh, you got that.
Oh, by the way, Glenn.
I'm like, what? How do goalies do that? Oh, yeah.
Well, when one of the goalies is 8 out of 10, you can expect something to happen.
There you go. Something's going to happen. Well, should we get the guest in or what?
I think so.
All right.
I think so.
I will disappear and go do my producer part of this show, and we'll invite both of them in. Are you both coming in?
Yeah.
Bridget's going to come in.
Oh,
Stay inside.
Oh, really?
Well,
Well, we got 2 chairs. One
I'll move
on
in
the stool, one on the chair.
I'll let Bridget take the role.
All right.
If Gary comes on, Bridget won't get a word in edgewise.
That's
We'll
right.
introduce you.
So I'm
Right,
going to let
so
Bridget talk. I got to talk to you anyway, Glenn, first.
I'm going to introduce you.
And open the squeaky door again.
So, this show has been primarily about the CSP, since its inception over 4 years ago. We're in our 5th year of the THC Show. We're closing in on 7 years with the CSP. So once they talked me into having a pot TV show, well, the CSP had to be a big part of that. The CSP, Cannabis Substitution Program, was started because we had a public health emergency of people overdosing and dying on a poison drug supply. I had personal knowledge of that cannabis in the form of high-dose edibles was very valuable in helping people get off of those hard drugs. And I knew that the answer, or at least one of the big answers to this whole thing, would be to make it as easy as possible to get access to cannabis, especially in the form of high-dose edibles. So that's what started the whole thing. We ran for 3.5 years, working off the street out in front of Vandu, using Vandu as our main organizing space, right close to Main and Hastings, a block up the street. And we had great success doing that. Twice a week, we would have hundreds of people line up. We would give out hundreds of care packs to people of 4 to 6 high-dose edibles, a couple of joints. During that time, the City of Vancouver eventually passed a motion to support what we were doing. That led to a meeting, which led to a storefront. But unfortunately, the City Licensing Department, unaware of all of that going on, wasn't hip to the whole thing, decided to flex their muscle with City Council. And City Council had to say, okay, we'll wait for Canada to take the lead on whether or not you get a license for what you're doing. So we applied to Health Canada 3.5 years ago almost now, and we waited and we waited. Now in the meantime, out of the storefront, into an RV, and operating from an RV through horribly cold winters, through horribly hot summers, and waiting and waiting and waiting for Health Canada, who did nothing but make excuses, and now they've denied our application, for which we will be putting forward a judicial review on that decision, and I think my lawyer is going to wait until after we have the charter challenge to do that, and we'll see where that goes, because that could be all we need. But in the meantime, the CSP continued, and it continued, and it continued, and we continued to have nothing but success. No complaints, nobody harmed, hundreds of people saying that they were helped by this. Well, about a year ago, people in Surrey, feeling the same need that we were dealing with here, approached me about starting a CSP in Surrey. We discussed it. They had a similar vision, similar heart, and I gave my blessing on that happening. That went on for a few months, and then there was a split. Part of the group in Surrey was from Newton. Newton had its own unique problems, and this group was very familiar with the area and the layout, and also very familiar with the dynamics of addiction. And so then we had 2 groups. Not long ago, another, I don't know if it's a split or an addition, but now there's a group in Langley doing the same thing. I don't want to forget about Chris in Halifax for over 5 years doing the same thing. That happened. I don't want to forget about Mary, who started it in London, Ontario, and had it running there for quite a while before she had to leave, and the person that took over had health issues, and it is being suspended at this point. There are, I'm told, other CSPs using the name CSP. I'm familiar with what's going on to a little bit of a degree anyway in Sudbury. I'm told there's a couple in California, perhaps Oregon. So it's become a big deal, as it should. And I'm thrilled about that. And I'm thrilled that today we get to have a conversation with the people from Newton who have dropped by to tell us a little bit about what's going on with them. I believe they're coming up to their 6th month or something like that, but we'll let them tell us. And first up is the most dynamic of the duo, in my opinion, the glue that holds it all together, Bridget Croucher? Croucher.
Yeah.
Come on in, Bridget.
Okie dokie.
So good to see you. Like, you're all decked out in CSP stuff. I guess
I
should
am. Yeah.
do the same. In fact, Bridget and her crew were nice enough to get me this hat as well. So
Can rob a
benefits
bank
are-
after making those because I got no fingerprints. I had to hand stitch them. And
I see. And nowadays you can wear a mask into a
Yeah.
bank, so you got that leg up.
Yeah,
Lift your
it's
hand
pretty
up a
good.
little bit.
Lift my hat up a little bit.
Yes, sir. Just
All
more
right.
light in your face.
Right.
Thank you.
See the whites
Alright.
of your eyes.
So how long has it been?
We are, I think, in our 6th month.
You're
I
in your
believe,
6th month.
if I'm correct, because we rolled out in May, officially May.
So
And
May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and we are in December. So
Okay,
you've
so 7
completed.
months.
You've completed 6 months of it. How did that go?
Well, it's been an incredible journey. I've learned a lot about the cannabis industry. I'm not a person that actually smokes or eats cannabis, but I absolutely love the movement.
But you didn't love the movement several months ago. You hadn't come to any of these conclusions. Really, this has all been since you've started doing this and seeing the results. Is that true?
This was just watching people eat a cookie.
Right.
Seriously, a cookie. That simple.
But a cookie with cannabis in it.
This is a infused cookie.
Not just any
I
cookie.
mean, I've seen lives change with some of my cookies that had no
Yeah.
cannabis in it, but they're pretty tasty, and they change people's lives.
They do. You know, when we were dispensing these things at the herb school, long before the CSP, this is going back over 18 years ago, and we had Lady Marijuana. She was making cakes and brownies for us, and we had Mark Boyer making his remarkable cookies for us, and that's where I learned about how these things work for people that are going through hard drugs. We would have people come and tell us, you know, I got through withdrawal. I'm 2 weeks clean. I'm a month clean. I'm 2 months clean. And then, you know, more and more and more. We had dozens of people saying, hey, man, cannabis saved my life. Yeah. And all that was happening back in the day. So that's how I knew that the cannabis edibles could play a really big role in helping out with this situation here. And it certainly has proven to do that for sure. Yeah. And you guys are even supplying us. So, you know, you make enough for what you got going on out there, and you provide us with some cookies for as well here. I got to thank you so much for that. Yeah. We have a hard time keeping up here. We put out between 10 and 12,000 milligrams every day.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's incredible.
You know, we were once a week, then we were for 2.5 years, we were twice a week, and now we've been here for 3.5 years plus, and we're 7 days a week, 8 hours a day. All the people that are members, hundreds of people are members. They can come every 4 days and get 420 milligrams in their care pack for free, thanks to yourself and the other donators that make all this work. Everything is by donation with the CSP. We had a waiting list of 500 people, and we went, enough. We never expected that. We thought, I'm sorry, I'm interviewing myself now, but but in the lead up to how you got to be where you are, you know, we never expected that so many people would want to be part of this program. You don't really get a sense that there's several hundred people that are in this neighborhood that are virtually homeless, most of them. If they are housed, they're precariously housed, they're on the streets. We knew there was a bunch of tents and there's clusters of people all over. But we had 250 people that we were helping that were on our list of members, and another 500 people that wanted to be members. And we stopped taking names. We never expected it was going to take so long for government to support what we're doing here. And we didn't think the list was going to keep growing without being able to be in a storefront and to have other locations and to be able to expand. But this is what happened. So all those other people that don't get to be members, they can still come here. And they're not turned away. They don't get 420 milligrams for free every 4 days like the members do. They get about 100 milligrams of edibles every day for free, or they get a joint if they would prefer a joint, and some do, but none get turned away. All get some cannabis, and all keep coming back, and many of those, despite not being part of the program, are reporting to us that they're just using cannabis at this point. So it's been a phenomenal success through and through. Other than the support we don't get from government, that's not a success for us at all. But what is your experience? How often do you go out? How many people do you see? What volume of edibles and joints are you providing?
Okay, so basically what we've been doing is we were going out three days a week, and then it was down to 2. And then we moved to Wednesdays and Thursdays, which is now a set time for the people. Obviously, we can't just say, oh, hey, can you meet us over at the corner of so and so and so and so,
Right.
because they don't even know what day of the week it is.
Right.
So what we do
And
is
they may
we
not.
go out to them.
I mean, they would forget, like you said, they wouldn't remember. If you had a sign posted where you normally are, they may not come back and even read that sign. You would have a whole bunch of people falling beneath the cracks if you weren't regular.
Yeah.
We found exactly the same thing. We were already having people fall through the cracks that we weren't getting to. But for those people that were relying on us, we needed to be reliable. So that's what you found as well.
So every Wednesday, every Thursday, we go out. We go to as many places as we can. We kind of do a check-in. Hey, have you seen so
and you're on
so?
foot with a wagon.
2 wagons.
2 wagons.
We have 2 wagons now.
Right.
Because we got, it just got too
And you've
heavy.
got a daytime of preparation before these events where you're making sandwiches and cookies and other things like
morning
that.
Morning of, we make sandwiches, and we have anonymous donors, the people that bring us everything from socks, gloves, toques. We just got an anonymous donor of sleeping bags and sleeping mats. So those are being
Beautiful.
shipped
We've
as
got
we speak.
a whole bunch of blankets.
Yeah.
And probably more than we could even hand out here. If you guys want some of those to take to your area, if that would be of help.
We got some of the same blends.
Oh, you did?
You do, yeah.
Yep.
From the same guy?
Yeah.
Take that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we got donors coming
Wonderful.
all the time.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
kinds of stuff.
so
Whether
this
you
is
can eat it,
Sean
sleep on it.
at Green Wilderness. He is like the oldest donator of ours. Like he really goes back right almost to the beginning. He was starting his edibles company right about the same time as we had gotten going with the CSP. He was looking for ways to be able to get his edibles out there into the marketplace. And he came to me and he said, hey, we'd like to donate a bunch of edibles to you. And he's been donating ever since. Those Green Wilderness gummies are famous. They work so well. And was it last year? He came up with a whole bunch of stuff for us as well. What were they? Advent calendars for pets. That's what he gave us. It was a huge stack of Advent pets. And this time he's given us a whole bunch of blankets and towels, throws, and a whole bunch of cat mats that one of his relatives, in-laws, I believe, was making while she was in a wheelchair, maybe in a care home or something, and making these. They look like a bunch of dinner rolls. Is what they look like. A bunch of dinner rolls all put together on a pad. So they're all fluffy and plump, and they're basically designed for cats to sleep on. But for here, with all these people living on the streets, sitting on pavement all the time, they're perfect. They're perfect. So we've been giving those out as well. We got our tubes and dubes coming up on the 19th.
We just got a $75 donation too.
Nice.
Nice.
$75 donation. Is that anonymous or who's that?
Yeah,
for?
anonymous.
Yeah, some people want to donate and they're fine with having their names mentioned, and some people want to donate and they don't care about their name. They don't even want their name out there
We have that
because
with
we're
our
still
donors.
dealing with a scary government, for God's sakes, Otherwise, everybody would be proud to be donating to here, but some people are still worried they're going to lose their kids or their home or their livelihood or their liberty. How disgusting. We're helping people to get off of hard drugs and live a proper life. And we're afraid, some of our donators are afraid to put their name on it because the man might come and persecute them for trying to save people's lives. I mean, do you get a sense of that too? Do you get a feeling of, you're not being accepted like you should be, with how much good we're doing?
I think the people that support us know what cannabis does. And
So are you talking about the people that you provide it to, or people that just support you in donating, or who are you?
We had an anonymous donor. They don't want to be like a shout out or whatever,
Right,
because
'cause they can get in
obviously
trouble.
there's only so much you can donate, right? And there's so many people doing what we're doing that I think it just kind of, well, hey, I helped you, why don't you give me, kind
Sure,
of thing,
there's
that
that
kind
too.
of thing, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is yeah, I mean it's a gift, and if you maybe gift a little bit too much, are you allowed to gift that much? So what we do is we just keep it on the down low kind of thing, so that we get what we get, we give out what we can give as a gift. There's no sales involved. That's just kind of what I've learned about the industry. Once you make a profit on something, then it's like the government wants their cut and
That's
tax.
what it is, yeah.
They want you to have a storefront or.
So I don't even know if it would be considered making profit here. We sell cannabis through another entity that's in a collaboration with the CSP, not the CSP. That entity supports the CSP, provides them with space and whatever they need to make sure that it keeps going. That entity pays the volunteers a stipend, a reasonable stipend based on minimum wage.
Sure, of course, they got bills to pay.
Of course,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
we're 8 hours
Yeah.
a day, 7 days a week here.
Yeah.
So those people are given money
For
at the
sure.
end of every day that they help out. The shops bills are paid, the hydro, all of that, the insurance on the vehicles, all that kind of stuff. But there's not money left over that's being piled up that we should be sharing with government.
Oh,
No.
Neil, don't forget about that parking too, eh?
Remember the parking.
And that's part of why I can say that there's not profit here that's being piled up because the government is not supporting us. It's costing us a lot. I'm $20 a day in cab fare to go in the morning and get the RV and to take it there at night. I've got to come back in a taxi. We pay $800 a month in parking.
Wow.
We pay the parking.
Wow.
That's just for the one vehicle. That's just for the RV.
That's
Yeah, that's not for
$800
the other,
a month.
your vehicle and the other vehicles.
And I have my vehicle, my staff, some of my staff have vehicles. We pay for all of that as well. All of that money comes out of whatever's generated in here. Already I've got people, even the volunteers, they're getting a stipend based on minimum wage, but they are putting in effort that's worth 2-3 times what they're being compensated for. And they're doing it willingly because they're happy to help. They feel a real sense of participation in something that's really helping a lot of people profoundly, and that's why they're here doing it. But trust me, what they're doing here is not easy, and it should deserve much higher pay. But I can't justify it, I think I'm going to give everybody a raise coming up here and see what happens. But so far, over the years that we've been doing this, I've had to supplement from my own money that I got when Dad passed away and whatever to keep all of this going. And I priced it that way on purpose. It could be structured so that the pricing brought in a little bit more money. And I'm sure that's what would happen if we got a license. And then it would be a profitable business. Right now it pays for itself. Pretty much it's paying for itself.
But it kind
Now
of
that I got
defeats-
rid of the one entity who was taking way more than they should have, still don't want to really talk about that publicly. But there was somebody who was really fleecing the CSP that I didn't realize until it was way too late, and it'll be a while before that money is made back that I put in there myself.
Going in the
But
right direction
We
now,
are
eh?
going in the right direction.
Right,
I think it's a viable thing that we're doing here, and but we do need to sell cannabis to be able to make that work. There's just no way around it, unless I got some government funding, some really nice government grant that would pay for a storefront.
Right.
That would cover the costs of these things,
Right.
that would allow us to even give out more than we already do.
Right.
I mean, we could get some millionaire private donator as well. That would be fine as well. Although we're still
open to
floating the
others.
laws every step of the way, Yeah, and I'm having to pay a lawyer. I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't asked for any help with that, but I might one day come to the community and say, look, I just put out $35,000 for a lawyer. I haven't yet. But I've definitely put out some thousands of dollars to retain the lawyer who's going to help us with our case coming up here. I think he's the best lawyer in Canada doing these things, and no offense to anybody else. I don't know other lawyers that well, so how do I really know who's the best lawyer or whatever? Paul
But he
Boone's a
seems
great
good,
lawyer.
eh?
He seems fantastic. He seems like he's on the same page as we are about what it is that people deserve here, and not buying into this ridiculous model of legalization that is fashioned after a narrative where cannabis is still dangerous. It needs to be highly regulated. We have to make sure that the children don't get it and all the rest of this stuff. In a world with alcohol and commercial tobacco are easily available, and even pharmaceutical drugs and non-prescription pharmaceutical drugs that are available all over the place. There's drug stores all over the place with all kinds of drugs that you could overdose on, you can misuse, so many different things, and yet we're stuck with this so-called legalization that is treating cannabis like it's way more problematic than any of those substances. This stuff must be like deadly, dangerously addictive. It must be explosive. For them to be spending the millions and tens and hundreds of millions of dollars that they're spending on trying to restrict access to cannabis and actually make huge profits for just a select few, which is what the whole scheme is, people. This is a Ponzi scheme. The shareholders are being fleeced. They're being sold a bill of goods that cannabis is going to make them a whole bunch of money because they're going to force all Canadians to purchase cannabis at ridiculously high prices through government stores, and anybody who buys shares in that can get rich. And I'm telling you, that's not going to happen. They're all losing money. But the leader, the organizers, the government doesn't lose any money. Sorry, I'm going on a rant here. I get going sometimes.
Nope.
Government doesn't lose any money. Government is the one that's completely secure in this legalization. That's how they designed it. They get their taxes right off the top. The federal government takes $1 a gram for every gram of cannabis that's sold in Canada. Can you imagine $454 coming off the top of every pound of blueberries? Would you be buying blueberries if they were $458 a pound because the retailer's going to make $3?
Where's all the money, Neil?
Where's all the money?
Like Mr.
We
Trudeau,
can't build
where's all
houses.
the money, man?
Yeah.
Speak like
Like,
that?
where's the, like he can
I
build
get it.
houses?
I
Like,
get it.
where's the money going?
We're giving a lot of it
There's
away
so
to
much
offshore
countries.
Yeah, like,
interests.
Where's the
Other
money?
countries.
That's right,
Yeah,
Glenn.
other
That's
countries get a
exactly
bunch.
right. Thank you for speaking the truth.
Immigrants that come here get a bunch of it,
That's true too, Neil.
You know,
Let's
we
be
help
honest,
set them
eh?
up
We need
real
to be
good.
honest, eh?
while our own people suffer.
Our
I'm
own
not
people are
anti-immigrant
suffering.
at all, but I'm certainly anti-government spending a whole bunch of money on that and not this.
There's
know?
veterans that have served our country
Ah,
living
you
on the
bet.
street
That's
out
right.
here,
Bet.
and the government doesn't even help.
Actually,
them.
Canada's a third world country.
Actually,
Like, they
to
make
tell
it
you,
seem as though there's the big
Glenn,
problems
is
around
we were at a
us.
conference at our church that we belong to that donates a lot of the money for the food that's part of the program. And
And you could repeat that for our audience as well, if
Yeah,
you like.
you
You're
know.
part of a church
a church, yeah.
that
at
supports
church.
what you're doing
Yes,
and
yes.
donates to the cause
Yes, they do.
and understands it's about giving cannabis to people.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know Gary was going to speak, but I
Gary's
spoke-
always going to speak. don't
I
worry.
can
I
always
spoke
speak.
to a lady. I spoke to a lady in our church, and I said, "What program do you belong to?" I went, "Okay, regurgitate, stick it out there."
Yeah.
I said, "We're the CSP program." "Oh, what's that, dear?" I said, "Well, it's the Cannabis Substitution Program. We use medical cannabis to help people with pain, sleep, coming off the illicit street drugs, dangerous drug supply." "Oh, well, that sounds like a lovely idea." I went, "Oh, really?" So you know what? I opened my mind a little wider along with my mouth, which is going to speak a little more about the CSP and not the whole food and bologna and cheese and a banana and water. And that's great, and it's really important.
It's never
But
made
the
any
cannabis
sense to me.
is making the difference. It's making the difference.
I mean,
It's not a bad
how
drug.
can the religious
It's a
community
really-
not embrace cannabis? Now, I get it that many of them are
Anyway.
wealthy, they're tied to the industrialists that are behind prohibition and all of that.
Well, the movie too, like the propaganda
Reefer
that was
Madness,
spun
yeah.
on cannabis, like, and you know, they call it marijuana, which is still used sometimes out of my mouth. It'll come and I to catch myself because it's really cannabis. So you know, I don't want to get into debate with anyone, but you know, after reading the book a few times over, it does say in Genesis, every herb, right,
All.
every seed that,
All.
yeah,
Of
exactly.
the herb,
All good
all
Yeah.
purposes.
of the herb-bearing
All good
seeds.
purposes.
And it says green. It
That's
says,
a good
it says
purpose.
Seed bearing
plant
herbs.
seed. You know,
People's lives,
it sounds a lot like the hemp plant to me. It does, but
And-
I mean,
and
I'm
whether or
not
not it
gonna
is or
say
not.
it is, but,
Whether
you
it
know.
feeds animals or doesn't, it
Despite
says
what
for
my-
all good purposes.
despite what
That
my-
sounds like a good purpose.
Yeah.
Despite
It's
what
so
my
that-
102-year-old
Saving people's
grandmother
lives.
Yeah.
had to say about
No.
the devil being the one who created cannabis.
Oh no!
I
Yeah.
said, no, Grandma, the devil didn't make any of the plants. God made all
God
of the
made the
plants.
plants.
Well, yeah.
So it doesn't matter which plant it is. It's a God-given plant.
Yeah.
It's never made any sense
it's
to
a
me
green herb.
that the religious side of things wouldn't have understood that this is a natural plant and the evil, greedy, corporatized governments of the world
Yeah.
are trying to put it down. Those evil, greedy, corporatized government types around the world have been putting down religion, you know, except those that take one of them and say this is ours.
Yeah.
You know, but most of the time you're being oppressed by governments. Religion has been repressed by governments all throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
And the church should be like, hey, screw you. I mean, I'm sure they're not doing that. But, you know, in a nice way, the way Jesus would do it. I'm sorry, we're not interested in doing business with you. You can rot in hell for eternity.
Yeah.
You know, however, he would have nicely
I
said it
don't
to
think
them.
he would have said that actually.
No,
Yeah,
but,
not
you know,
from what I've read.
No, but
Um,
how do you quote Jesus? It's hard to do, right?
But I said, like, religious
Well, go to the
scholars are religious scholars. They've always been around, even in Jesus' time. If we're going to talk about Jesus,
Yeah.
but like he wasn't religious anyways. He used to question religious scholars all the time. You know, he was
What would
as a
Jesus
person.
do?
right?
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
and he went against the church by providing the holy anointing oil to commoners.
And another thing, he told us that we were the church. So, I mean, I
And he
challenge.
chased the moneylenders out of the church.
That's another thing a lot of people won't want to talk about in church, how he built a cat of 9 tails, not just a little whip. And he went in and he didn't just turn over tables and chairs and scream and yell, but he flogged these people. He didn't just lightly hit them like some people might think. Oh,
Get the hell out of my father's house, you know?
you've turned it into a den of thieves.
Yeah.
Which, again, back to the government.
government.
With the $1 a gram. Thieves. Where's all the money, Justin Trudeau?
Where's any justification for doing that?
Yeah.
Like, where are they spending any money on damage caused to our society by people using cannabis or growing cannabis or selling cannabis?
Or giving it out.
Or giving it away.
By donation.
How could I forget the giving away part?
Yeah.
Where is any damage being caused that the government needs to have tax dollars to cover the cost of with respect to cannabis? There is none.
No.
And you really start looking at it and you go, well, sick people are getting relief. They're healthier. They're getting off of hard drugs and going back to work and living a normal life and paying taxes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge benefit
Yeah.
financially to governments to have cannabis in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So, no, we're not there yet with turning this thing around.
Neil, honestly, I've had more opportunity probably in the last 2 weeks of the whole time we've been on the street is to be able to educate people. It was bylaw officers and there was a bunch of ambulance people as well that were attending to something
Firemen,
that
cops,
happened to us.
like
And they
the
said,
local survey
what
cops.
is this? And I said, it's the CSP. I said, what's the CSP? I says, well, it's gifting marijuana to people so they can recover it, so they don't wind up like this. We lost a girl. She didn't make it. She had been using drugs for 2 weeks. She got a hold of a drug supply.
Yeah, she
was
part
an
of that
alcoholic.
drug supply
Anyway,
is
she
bad.
didn't make it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Now, the man that was with her when she passed away, because obviously, this is part of the deal, people do die from illicit street drugs.
And you typically die without somebody else being harmed in that process, for sure.
Well, Rob was standing there, a gentleman, Rob, let's say Rob, and Rob went into a recovery house today.
Yeah, we took him into
So the bylaw officers, we left a note on the tent that says, feel free, help yourself, we've gone to recovery. So, of course, the bylaw officers sent the tree people out today to cut down a bough of a tree that had fallen, quite a large bough of a tree, and he had tethered his tent to it.
Right.
So anyway, the bylaw people came with the tree cutters to cut it down.
Okay.
I said, it's okay, he's gone now. Anyway, Rob went in at 8:30 this morning into Trilogy House.
Well, we wish him all the best.
So we wished him all the
Yeah,
best,
all the
and
best, man.
Now, there's likely
Yeah.
not cannabis available in the
Well,
future.
not
no,
at
it's
this
not
one.
at this one. No,
But
he
he-
understood that.
he
He said, I
understood
can't bring
that,
my
man.
weed.
Almost
He's-
none.
Yeah.
And that is such a shame. That is,
Yeah,
that,
not
that
a
is-
shame.
that is another area for us to be working
Wait,
hard
yes.
on.
I wanted to say something about that. Anyways, when I was, let's say, talking to the one person, it's not that they were discrediting it because that's the way the house ran, but he was saying in the house, one of the guys, who was an intake worker, was saying that, he believes in that approach. It's just how they've got it set up. And again, that's probably got a lot to do with Canada Health and Fraser Health and how they set guidelines, right? And they set these guidelines, well, it's got to be this way. And yeah, man, I wish we could get together and start, like, with the 420 community, and people who got money, like, to give up 1 or 2 houses within the GVRD district, and we could start a cannabis substitution program house, that would allow
There are
cannabis.
people working on it.
Yeah, and that's the only thing,
great.
though, eh? I mean,
I'll support it any way I can.
For me, I
Anything
think
for
that's the best way to
anything, I
go,
would love to be
right?
part of that.
I mean, I'm not saying that microdosing don't work
sure
or
we all
anything
would,
like
right?
that. It's just,
Having a place for people
yeah,
to recover.
or having a
and
place
support,
to people to recover off the street is a long process. Most of the time, I find they don't need anything other than a little bit of cannabis, a lot of love, some food, and
know how many people we-
shower would be nice, and a toilet even, right?
Oh,
so
a
they can go to
toilet's
the
nice.
bathroom.
And dignity, if you got
We
to do
could
it
help
on
a lot
the
more people with a
Sorry.
2-week recovery period instead of 3 months.
You know that,
We
Glenn.
could get people in and out of there in 2 weeks and be healthy, and we're able to work
Back to
again
work.
in 2
You
weeks.
know that.
right?
They
I know
become
that.
taxpayers, right?
And probably not fall back on the stuff too, because they can just keep you using cannabis and
And then they
so-
can pay taxes
Yeah.
when you
Yeah,
file your
that's
taxes
right.
and they become taxpayers,
That's what happens.
and you can build a new hospital and maybe some
But hey,
houses and
when you're making $1
clean
a
up the
gram
area.
off weed, man, you really don't have to do any of that, do you? Right?
No,
No,
that's
no.
a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, they're not satisfying the whole Canadian market by any means, but they are still selling billions of dollars worth of cannabis here in Canada. It's incredible. Some of it's being exported, but the government getting $1 a gram off of all that stuff, that's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
Well, I
money.
think
and
unfortunately they make a lot of money on the treatment centers being.
you
the way
need to
they
not be
are.
way over there if you're going to talk. Nobody can hear you anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sorry. But yeah, we need to do some work with the treatment centers. We need to get that education out there, man. I'll tell you, I spent quite a bit of time in the early days going after media to cover our story. You know, look at this story. What are we doing? We're breaking Canadian law. We're saving people's lives. The government is corrupt. Hey, man, it's a big story here. Media doesn't want to touch it.
No.
You know, unless something drastic happens, they don't want to touch it. I hope they're going to be there to cover some of the court proceedings in July. But I don't know. Because that's all it needs to happen. Is the education needs to get out there.
Yeah.
So you guys are doing it one-on-one with people.
Yeah.
We're doing it one-on-one with people. I write letters to influential people, and then maybe they read those letters, maybe they don't. They probably don't. Their assistant might read part of it, and then, you know,
Yeah, but at least you're doing it though, Neil. And that's
well, we
the
keep
core
trying.
part,
We will
right?
keep doing it. You know, we're not getting smaller.
No.
Thanks to people like yourselves, we're getting bigger all the time.
And other people too, you know, there's the Surrey CSP, there's, I heard, the Magnuson Foundation there. And
Yeah, I'm
Right.
honored and thrilled. They asked me if they could use my name for their society. You know, we had a conversation about what I expected from that, and you know, they say they'll do me proud, and so, you know, I'm happy to put my endorsement behind that.
And there's
and
also
we'll see where it goes. You know,
there's also whisper too. There's other municipalities that are thinking CSP as well.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
now, in the moment, there's
Yeah.
some whisper.
Another thing, Neil,
it should be
I'm
quite
waiting to
surprising
get my
to them.
passport together, right? I
Right.
have to actually go into the American consulate next week, and
I see.
yeah, to
Going
prove
down to
who I
the
am.
United
I already
States
sent
next.
the papers, but it was like 2
Then make
weeks
sure he
short
still
of
doesn't
the
have a
5
slate.
years. So now I have to go into the consulate to redo it and prove who I am and
Right.
show like all this stuff. Like you don't. I don't.
So what are
wanna
you going to
give
do
it-
with that?
Well, what I want to do is I want to head into like Seattle, and I have a lot of friends because I lived there for a short time, and you've been seeing what we've been doing, and
Right.
so I'm going to
Well,
slowly.
it's legal in Washington State.
Well, that's
so.
the whole thing is to hit the West Coast with what we're doing, right down the coast. Because I'm going to tell you, man, the damage of the coast. From right here in Vancouver to the downtown east side, all the way to
San Diego.
Seattle. You go into Oregon, Eugene,
You know,
Oregon,
California,
you go
San
all
Diego,
through,
all-
through. Yeah, it's just a nightmare out of our West
LA
Coast.
looks terrible.
And it used to be such a beautiful place, you know. Like in the 80s, even in the 90s, it was still pretty nice, eh? And then, you know, as this drug epidemic started, and we didn't really do anything about it, and the government didn't care, and you know, that's I believe why you probably started your program, right? You know.
Well, I've been working down here on the downtown east side for about 20 years now, and the plight of the people here has weighed heavily on me since the beginning. That's why I continue to be down here. It's not a fun place to be at all. It's not fun to see the tragedy, but it is fun. Not the right word, but it's the word I started using, so I'll continue. It is fun to be able to provide people with something that really makes their day. Like, you know, as a pot smoker, you've probably had times in your life where you didn't have weed. If somebody ever gave you a joint during one of those times, you know, it'd make your day or what,
Yeah,
eh?
we
Like,
get that
holy
all the
smoke.
time. Whoa,
So we do that.
Jimmy, whoa,
We do that
yeah,
over 100
you got
times a day
two?
here.
Oh no, I know.
Here you go. Here's two. Thanks, man. I'll smoke one right now.
Exactly, yeah, and my staff does that. You know, if they think you need
Somebody
two, they
needs
give you two. They give you an edible as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we do that over 100 times a day here. We make people's days.
I love
That
it.
is fun.
I love it.
We
Yeah.
get people giving us stuff to give away besides cannabis,
Yeah.
and that's always fun.
Yeah.
You know, people are always excited to get, you know, whatever it is you're giving away, whether it's hot chocolate or watermelon or whether it's clothing or socks or whatever. We make a lot of people's days that way. These pads, you know, for people to sit on, they are so perfect for people that are sitting on pavement, which you shouldn't be doing. And the first night, like, it's been really wet, so I haven't given out any in the last few nights because it's been really wet, and they're not good in the rain. People are going to have to wrap them in garbage bags or something to keep them dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Put cardboard underneath them to keep the cold from coming up through, and then they're fantastic. But I didn't want to give away these things when it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
Because people would have them all soaked in no time, right?
And then how are you going to dry them?
Yeah. So
And
they
that's
need
the
to
thing, right?
they need to be giving them when it's not raining. Then they need to figure out how they can keep them dry. They have containers. They have garbage bags. They have things they put things in to keep them dry, and we'll do it like that.
Okay.
But that first night when I went out to do that, the second guy that I said, excuse me, because they looked at there.
Yeah, I know.
So
That's
hey,
true.
hey man, are you all right? Which I ask all the time when I see these people. Right, I do it a little bit from a distance because you don't want to get punched.
Right.
They're getting a little bit of sleep in most cases that they have a hard time getting, so they don't really like being woken up at all, right? But when they look like they're dead, you got to pretty much make sure they're not, right, or dying or whatever. So I do my little round there, and now I've got these pads with me and blankets and shit. And so I say, they're like, can you get this underneath yourself there? And okay, whatever. The second guy, he was like, oh man, oh, fuck yeah! He was so happy. He was just so happy. It was so cold that night, and I guess he'd been sitting there just shivering, and now he's got a blanket to put over him, he's got a pad to sit underneath, and he was so happy.
I got a so share. Okay, so we brought up these things. I said, oh, wait a second, because we got a few big ones.
Yeah. And
I thought, wait a second, the width of that, and the guy is about this wide. And I said,
It's
holy
a
crap.
bed.
If you put three together, I walked over to somebody's tent, and I said, buddy, he goes, holy shit, that's just like a fucking bed.
Yeah.
Woo! And he was like rocking back
Many of
and
them are
forth.
3 feet
warm
wide,
and fuzzy.
and you only need
Yeah.
2 at 3 feet wide.
Yeah, so
and
he literally
6
laid
feet.
him out in the tent, and the bio officers came around and said, time to go, bud, it's time to go. So when he said, okay. So anyway, he got the waffle, the little muffin, the little waffle, and we came back around, he was snoring. So I said, so much for moving on with the bio officers. I said, he saw on
Stupid bio
logs.
officers,
right?
So
yeah,
roast
they're
people
quite
all
comfy.
the time here. They're still
Yeah.
doing the same thing.
Yeah.
There's people, you're allowed to pitch your tent in the park. You got to like 6 a.m. to pitch your tent. In Vancouver, they passed a bylaw that people could sleep in their tents in the parks as long as you're gone by 6 a.m.
Okay.
But they don't need to send a cop in there, and roust those people at 6 a.m. to move. So what if they're there till 10 o'clock or something like that?
They're like, where are they going
They're
to go?
trying to get some sleep.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Where are
heal
they gonna
themselves
go, man?
in some way, and it certainly doesn't help people heal to be waking them up and telling them they're not welcome, get the hell out of here, and being gruff about it, and ending up taking a bunch of their stuff as well in many cases. This is not helping people heal at all.
And it's
They're
like Gary
continuing-
will go out early in the morning, and he'll wake them up before the bylaw, so that at least they can come round. Instead of having a couple.
Well, at least you're waking them up to give them something.
Well,
No, we
another
just
thing-
wake them up.
Oh,
So the
the-
bylaw,
oh,
The
I
bylaw
doesn't
is
have
like
to do
really
it.
bad in
Because we're
Newton,
friends,
see.
right? We
right?
know
So they'll start hitting them like between 7 and 8
Right.
in the morning. So I can't smoke weed on our property because I live in a co-op, and they can smoke tobacco, but I can't
No
smoke
weed.
weed, right? So
illegal.
all that can come into my house, and I quit smoking 2.5
Not
years
illegal
ago. But,
anymore.
yeah. Right.
But they have to make
Anyways.
you walk off the property.
So I leave the property, and because now we're in the neighborhood, and I was down here for
Now, you live right in the vicinity of where those people would be camped out.
and I was down here too for myself many years ago. So I mean, I'm not that scared to go out at night or anything like that, or even walk
Right.
down here. I don't have that fear.
Right.
So
Well, in doing what you're doing after 6 months, you'd have a whole bunch of people out there in the neighborhood that would come,
they know me.
that would come to your aid.
Oh, they said,
in
"You
a
got any
heartbeat
beef,
if you
you
needed
just
it.
come
Well,
get
no,
us."
but
Yeah.
they've
don't have
already
a
said,
problem.
"Hey, man, if you got any problems,"
Yeah.
because they call us
We got your back.
They actually
And
call
fun.
us the weed couple, is what they
Nice.
call us.
Yeah, we're the weed
And you were asking, I guess, Bridget, you were asking because she doesn't really know too much about how much we've handed out, but how much we've handed out as far as cookies and that a week. Usually, I would say about 40 doobies, right? Every within 2 days, so 20 to 25.
Is that one for everybody, or
Yeah,
some
one
people
for
don't-
everyone. No, everybody.
So you're
Sometimes I'll
basically
give.
touching 40 people.
Yeah, pretty well. And then sometimes I'll give 2, but usually it's 1 doobie, 2 cookies, right? But now we've been getting donations, edible donations and stuff, so we've been helping that. Then we also have Chase and Harry, who we help, as you know, right, with stuff.
And we have a couple of friends too that can't have THC, so they
Right.
have just a CBD,
Right.
and those are for those special people because they request that. because it just makes them crazy. They can't take THC.
Yeah.
It's just not for them.
Right, yeah, it's not for
But
everybody.
they'll
CBD
take
works
the
good for
doobie
people,
and they'll
or-
give it to somebody who could use it. You know, do you mind if I take it for a friend of mine or
Right.
a boyfriend or
Right.
girlfriend of mine or whatever? Then sure, yeah, go ahead. More the merrier. It kind of spreads it along. And
Oh,
everybody's
heck yeah!
happy,
People,
right?
you know, you got a joint for somebody, you're their hero for them.
Yeah, and if they don't smoke it themselves, they know somebody who would really
Well, that's
enjoy
what I
it.
mean. Now they got a joint to give to somebody.
Exactly.
So they can,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
making
like I
friends.
said,
Yeah.
they just they light up. Now all that was like really important at the start, like 4 or 5 months. But what we found is like a lot of them just end up saying, "Man, we don't care about the cookie or the doobie or the food. We just want to hang with you guys,"
Yeah.
and that's really cool.
Yeah,
That's why I do it. Really is now it's because it's just like.
it's personal.
The community of Newton has nothing. We don't have a Sums or we have a Mission like down here at Harbor Light. There is nothing in Newton.
No.
Everything's in Wally, I guess.
Or even South Surrey's got missions, but not in Newton.
Not
There's
Newton.
nothing in
It's
Newton.
nothing's
they got
there.
the food bank,
It's
but I
like
mean
nothing.
I mean, there's nothing in Newton. So that's another thing is they kind of know now, and I also I pump the RV too because I know they come down here as well. Like they do bounce, right? So I'm sure they've come down here for the 5 for 5 because that's just like remarkable.
The quality of the 5 for 5
Yeah.
is quite good these days.
Yeah, and other than that, and also with the baking of the cookies that Bridget bakes and stuff, that we bring down here and we use too.
And thank you so
We
much
have
for that.
we're gonna do some kind of giveaway, Neil. Like a dozen of them of the ones we make for events, the bud ones, not like the other stuff, but the ones that we make from bud. Because Bridget has really now we've done over 10,000 cookies
Nice.
since we started May 1st now.
Those are the
So,
numbers I was
yeah.
looking for.
So like
10,000,
basically we want to do some kind of contest where if somebody can guess what day we made the 10,000th cookie, which was sometime this week. So this week is between obviously Sunday and Saturday, right?
Right.
So if you can guess the day, right, and then to limit it because what happens, if
So
20
how are you
people,
reaching out to people to take part in this?
well, right here, right now, if they
Oh,
want.
right here, right now. There you go.
here.
So there you go.
So here's the key,
I don't
though.
know. I just bake.
So we'll give you, we'll give
I
you a
make a
dozen
lot
of our
of
bud
cookies.
cookies. If you can guess
Yeah.
the date the 10,000 cookie was done this week. It was done obviously this week, and obviously I'm sitting here, so it's not hard
So
to
it's in
figure.
this past week.
Yeah, so yeah.
Sometime
and
since last
And
Monday.
you
since we've dropped off
You
our
just told
cookies,
us what
right?
2 days that you do.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not so hard to
so
figure
what's
out.
it? So exactly, Glenn. So here's that. What time? What time did we finish that 10,000
So
cookie?
do you want them to send their answers in to me?
Yeah, they can send them in here to Glenn or whatever, and then like next, like I'll bring the cookies here, and next week I'll just drop them off so that you can give them away.
So how close to the time do you need? Are you within the hour?
I want you within the exact minute.
How about I just
Minute?
tag
Yeah.
you?
Well, I don't even know what
tag you
minute
in the
they
show
come
and
out.
people can send you the
Perfect. They can send me the answer.
Because they might
Okay.
figure out that it's
I'm gonna do that
probably
right
Tuesday
now.
or Wednesday
Yeah, and let's
morning.
say I got
right?
like there's 4 people that
I don't
do.
know,
I
I'm
can
pretty
usually
much a
do
night
that,
owl,
right?
too.
Oh,
So
I-
I
so you
don't
don't you
know.
don't do everything.
I'll take the
morning.
first 3 answers.
Might
though,
be. So
Glenn.
might
So
not
let's
be.
say
Might
if they
be.
get if there's like
Just
10
a little
people who get all the
unseen.
answer, I'll take the first 3, right? So so I'll give out 3 dozen of cookies if 3 people guess the exact time. Like,
Okay.
what are the chances of that? Well, I'm not an odds guy, so I can't tell you. Right?
Who knows? So you can send your answer to the show.
No, they're going to send it to Gary. I'm going to tag him right now.
Right there.
Okay.
Boom.
Send.
I
There
love
you go.
technology. Glenn's a great wizard of that.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
that's why
All
he's
I
here.
say is I bake cookies.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't know anything computer techie other than turning on and off a stove. We're
You
good.
know how to use a timer.
There
But
you
we
go.
use a timer a
Thank
lot.
you, Glenn.
You'll get a notification to say Glenn Wells just
Perfect.
tagged you.
You know, and I really thank Gary so much that day when I walked in here, and I had never seen cannabis butter in my life. I had no idea what that was.
Right.
He came home into Surrey and said, "Oh yeah, I told Neil. I said that you're a baker. You make cookies." I said, "What did you do?" He goes, "Oh, I volunteered your time." I said, "Oh really?" And he said, "Yeah." And then I came down with those 2 stinky blocks of, I don't know what that was. I guess there's butter in there. And I took these 2 stinky, he goes, "Why, do you want an extra plastic bag?" I said, "I'm getting onto the SkyTrain." So anyway, took this thing home, and you know what? He said, "I'll be the scientist, you be the baker, and the rest is up to fate." And these little cookies are just the greatest little things.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that day to take those 2 stinky things of butter And now I know how to decarb. I know how to like trim it, decarb. I actually know how to make the butter now, and then I can actually turn the butter into the cookies.
So my friend, and you know who you are, I'm sure you're watching the show. This is where your butter is going.
Oh,
that is
thank
donated.
you. Thank you.
It's helping them out in Newton. It's helping us here in
Oh,
Vancouver.
incredible. Thank you, whoever you are. Anonymous donor. Thank you.
Anonymous
I truly
donor. He's a wonderful guy, and he helps us out a lot.
Thanks, man.
So I go there regularly to pick up from him, and every time I go, he's made butter for us. Just donates it to the CSP,
Yeah.
and it's been responsible for making a lot of the edibles that we've put out here. But you guys get it pretty much exclusively now. I don't give it to anybody else.
And then, like I said,
And that's what I mean. Thank you so much.
We only usually have to like a decarb and make our own for you. Maybe
Yeah,
once,
it doesn't
maybe
quite
twice,
get
not
through
too
from
much.
time to time, but
No, but that's good for
but
us.
we know how to
too,
do that
because-
anyways.
And
Yeah,
I've learned how
yeah.
to do it now. So
Yeah.
And
the
if
both
you
of us
need
together.
shake, I mean, I don't know if I told you, but he sends me shake
Yeah,
as well.
no,
so.
exactly.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
for
no,
sure. I mean,
yeah.
any way I can get butter, the butter is the cookies.
Yeah.
So no matter if we have to make it
I'm
ourselves,
sure I'll
we know
come
how to do
down
it.
and ask you
Yeah,
for some
yeah.
because I ran out actually.
Yeah, no,
so
I
I
have a
will
lot
come down
here.
next week
Yeah.
to get some because I know we've
Cool.
got like one chunk left and then or one whole double. I call them whole pucks and then they're split, right? So once that's done, then I know we've got 1 week. I think we have to decarb for you, and then you're going away again. So and then
Yeah, we've got
Coming
it all
back with
written on
more.
the calendar
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
what
I
we
go
need
to get
do.
it 2 weeks from now.
yeah, exactly. So.
So
Yeah,
Very
so
good.
everything's
Thank
working
you
out
for
perfect. I
everything.
like it, Neil.
Yeah.
I love what we
you're,
do.
you're in your second 6-month period, which means you're
Now we're
closing in
moving-
on a year.
Yeah, and then we'll do
goes
something.
fast.
We've already decided we'll do something where no matter what, like we'll just open it all up for all the CSPs in the Lower Mainland, and we'll probably do something. I'm thinking of doing something because of all of our ages. Some of us is. I want to do a party somewhere a little different, and I'm going to find out what that's going to
Because
cost.
we're all a bunch of young whippersnappers.
Well,
You're pretty
I'm thinking about,
I'm not actually.
I'm thinking
a lot
about
older
doing
than
something
you think I
at
am.
like
See?
Yeah.
like in New
I'm not that
Westminster at a place in New Westminster that's totally like 80s and 90s kind of thing,
Nice.
and it's something that I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna do.
Boy, if we ever got legitimacy from the government, for all of our CSPs,
Man, we'd have a block party.
we
man.
could have an amazing retreat of those people involved in
Oh, yeah.
managing, and we could do so much good.
Yeah.
One burger
Actually, I'm
barbecue
looking forward
coming
to
up.
seeing what Asia Moon's gonna do with 420. Now that I've heard this 3 day. We're actually looking really forward to seeing what's going on here. So
Well, it looks like there's going to be a 419 Cannabis Cup.
mhm.
There is.
Yeah.
Then there'll be the 420 in the park with speakers and vendors and all that kind of stuff. And then the next day, there was an event, a musical event planned at the Croatian Cultural Center,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
but that's
cool.
been canceled. They've canceled all events in the new year for
Okay.
whatever reason. We're not sure.
Okay.
But there's Holland Park.
There you go.
So, there may be a 421 at Holland Park.
Okay.
So that's what I know.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should be good.
I think Trout Park would be better. It's so big and
Oh, Trout Lake?
Trout Lake.
Oh,
Trout
it's-
Lake, yeah. It's really nice there.
There's,
So nice.
there's nothing wrong with Holland Park. We don't have the lake, but it's a nice place there, and they've used it now twice
I think okay.
for events, for cannabis events,
Yeah.
and they've gone off without a hitch.
And it
No
seems pretty
interference.
rolling smooth as
Yeah, it seems
peanut
like you
butter.
can just roll in there and do that. So, with a couple under their belt, and maybe there'll be another one before
Was that the place
That's
in
precedence,
Surrey?
right?
before 420. Maybe there'll be a Valentine's event, or maybe there'll be a St. Fatty's Day event or something like that. I don't know. But there might be those things yet as well. So Holland Park, that would be probably the park in Surrey to have it at, because it's centrally
definitely.
located in
right
the
beside
Yeah,
area.
it's actually it's
right
in
by
what-
SkyTrain. And
It's right by SkyTrain.
Yeah,
which
it's
is central.
easily accessible.
Yeah,
So,
that's a
This
great
park
park.
is.
something
Yeah.
else to build on
Yeah.
there. And we're thinking of having a campaign where we announce that we're going to have 420 on 420 at Thornton Park and then not go there.
Oh, to the other park where nobody knows where it is?
Yeah,
I think it just pops up the day
Yeah.
of.
There's a lot of people that we
It's
know
hard to
still
hide
cannabis
our
that might show
420.
up.
Oh, I know. You'd have to have some sort of a deal if people were calling in on the day before to find out where it really was.
Yeah.
But that evil mayor who
Surprise.
tried to, he didn't stop Cannabis Day, but he certainly stopped us from using the park
Yeah.
by fencing it all off like that at huge expense to taxpayers.
That was such bullshit.
Was it like
I'd love to fake him out.
$108,000 or something?
Oh, I don't know what it
It
is.
was
but
like $108,000 or something they paid for that.
well, I don't think we've gotten the finances on it. I don't think Dana put in for that. We've got rough estimates. I've been told over $60,000 for the fence alone by a fence expert. There was probably 50 or 60 VPD assigned to that park for the whole
That's probably
day.
where the other part of the money was to pay their
When there was normal VPD, there was a lot of sergeants there, Neil. I know I watched
The gang
it.
squad were there.
Yeah, the gang squad. That's what it was.
CSU were there.
The gang squad. And then, of course,
CSU
Miss
was there.
with her, Miss Priss there and
Yeah,
her
and
big
the big
cannabis
fat
cause.
guy.
Yeah,
Those evil people.
yeah.
And all those people getting paid on a holiday, a national holiday in Canada. What are they making? Double time and a half, triple time to be there like that?
Yeah.
So that was disgusting. What a horrible waste. I'd love to be able to pull a fast one on the mayor. But, we're probably just going to go do our thing like we normally do, and he can do whatever he wants to do and whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that was so disgusting of him. In all my years of being involved in the movement, that's probably the worst.
When you
I've
moved the
seen.
wildlife into the streets,
Yeah.
like, what the heck was that?
Oh,
That was a little disturbing.
And the parks board just sitting there watching those poor geese
Yeah.
going back and forth across that main
Trying to
road
get to
called
the
Main
babies.
Street
Yeah.
because they didn't know how to get into the park where they live.
We had to lift the gates.
Well,
so
all
to
the
let
babies
birds
were
in.
whole fence
They
up.
did, yeah.
Yeah,
And
all the
then
babies.
in they went. That was an amazing moment in time. Go
It
look at
just
that
shows
video.
what good people we really are, eh? That just touched my heart.
Well, and it
when I
shows
saw
what bad people they are.
That we're lifting the
You know.
gates up to let birds in so they can be
And
with
they're
their
sitting
babies.
there in their trucks just watching
Like, I
these
don't
poor
understand
geese
that.
be frantic.
And they're running
I don't
into the
understand
street.
that. These are parks board people.
Yeah.
Don't they care about the wildlife that they're in charge of? Like,
Well, I think they would then go up against the government if they moved the gates. Are we up against
really,
some government official?
they couldn't
saying,
come
hey,
and figure
you're
out that,
touching
hey,
our
we're not
gate?
going to let you people in, but we're going to let the geese in because it's the humane thing to do. It's what humans that have a heart would do.
I think people
Yeah.
just don't know what to do when you see all the police there and government people and.
so they
Do we
almost
touch
caused
the
a
gate,
riot.
leave the gate? Do we
That
lift it up, put
That
it
would,
almost
down?
caused
be
a riot.
a good campaign for
Crazy.
the next person who would want to be mayor of Vancouver, who would want to run against Sims. They could do like a thing about the geese, and they could get that because it's it's on the internet.
Yeah, run on
You've
a-
got the and they could use that footage. Like, look, Mayor Sims doesn't even care about the geese, and you
Well,
could
vote for me, and I won't be getting drunk in public and glorifying alcoholism.
Oh, with the shots?
Oh, with
Yeah.
the shots,
Yeah.
Mr.
You see
Shotgun,
the
Shotgun
shotgun-
Sims, is what you call
The
him.
mayor does that. That went global. That went viral around the globe.
I'm sorry to laugh.
That a mayor would be up
Shotgun
there
Sims.
shotgunning alcohol
Alcohol.
at a public event,
And these were young
glorifying
people.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Were they
on
young
that was on Family Day.
Yeah, young
family
people
day.
there.
Young
right?
people, it's just disgusting. This guy is so out of touch, and we'll see what happens
Well,
from
lock the
here.
geese out and don't give people weed that can save their lives. That's
Yeah, exactly,
ridiculous.
and to shut out
But
the
here's
cannabis
alcohol,
community.
drink and drive and kill people or
Yeah.
whatever. Assault your wife.
Terrible.
You know.
And as the cannabis community, we've been putting on Cannabis Day and 420 rallies for over 20 years, extremely respectfully.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
never been a problem.
we were great, citizens of the city in doing that. We respected the parks, cleaned up our
Was there
litter.
any litter left anywhere, anything like that?
And
Or
they're
open
gonna
liquor bottles?
pull that on
and-
us like as if we're some sort of evil entity during the middle of a public health emergency where people are dying of overdose, and we're there to address that. Oh, I get so upset.
We're there to
So
help,
upset.
not hurt people.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And I thank you guys so much for all your efforts and keeping
Thank
it
you,
alive
Neil.
and keeping it growing. We'll have you on when you've done it for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Neil.
Thank you for the
everything you
cookies
do,
and the
too.
support and all that you're doing there.
And Glenn.
It-
You
it's
know,
just,
I don't know if it's okay to mention her name, but I'd like to acknowledge Loretta Lynn. Last name? Chapman.
Chapman.
Loretta Lynn Chapman, what passed away this past week from an illicit drug supply, a toxic drug supply.
You know what
And
they're doing
it
in
didn't
Halifax?
have to happen. And I just want to say her
In
name.
Halifax, the CSP there have come up with a large 4x8 core class board, and they're allowing the people that they're helping to come and line up for their CSP packages
Yeah.
to post the names of the loved ones that they've lost to
Oh,
this.
wow.
And Loretta Lynn was down here for quite a while. And she was
on the
just
downtown
alcoholic.
side.
She was not a drug. In fact, when our street
And we're here to
people
help the
found
alcoholics too. They absolutely help people get off of alcohol as well.
and when they found out that it was drugs, I said, Loretta, Auntie, are you sure? I said, yeah, buddy. What? She didn't do drugs. Last 2 weeks, I guess she did do drugs. Yeah, and it was just
you can
the
stay with me for a minute.
wrong color. It was the wrong color of this drug side by side. She took the wrong one, and I guess it made her really sick. And
Well, not
she
being a
just went to
veteran
sleep.
user, I mean,
No,
you know, these people don't
she
really
it was only a
understand.
week and a half.
And one of the things that really bothered
Yeah.
me when Jerry Martin was doing his thing there, setting up his little mobile unit there, was the long lineup of people, and many of them were not users. They were people that were, hey, I can get a safe supply. I can try this stuff safely.
Just see what it
and
does.
see what it does. You know,
Oh,
there's
good
probably
Lord.
people who aren't sleeping, or people with depression, or people with pain.
Yeah.
And they thought, hey, if I can get it safely, why not? Well, the reason why not is because what happens when you can't get it safely? What happens when
Then
Jerry
what?
Martin dies?
So you get these
What happens
5
when there's no more safe supply?
So what you do it the first 5 times and you're fine, and on the 6th,
You can't find it, and you really need it.
and then you go to someone you
You
don't
go-
know, you don't know where it's
and
coming
you end up
from,
dead.
and then they're dead. Yes, you're dead.
That's what happens. So, thank you, Bridget, so much. I love you. I love what you guys are doing. It warms my heart so much that what we started here almost 7 years ago has expanded the way that it has. And I think that the way that it's expanded into Newton is extremely beautiful. So thank you so much for
And the
that.
people love you and they say thank you so much.
They do.
And anytime we ask for a photo, it's for our people, so they know that what you give us is going where it's going.
Yeah.
And I tell them thank you, when we get,
Yeah.
a couple thumbs up, and it really helps them.
It really does. It really does. It's profound work. It needs to be covered in media. It needs to be expanded and allowed everywhere.
There was a lady that was out front of the Cello shopping center, and she was sitting with her back against the wall, and she was in crippling pain. Like she couldn't even move. She couldn't move her neck. She couldn't move her back. She was sitting on the hard ground, on the concrete ground. And I said, I have cannabis. And she went, cannabis? Are you serious? Are you for real? I said, you have cannabis? I gave her 4 cookies. We gave her 2 and gave her an extra 2. I came back around to the block, did the run, came back. The same woman, after eating 2 of the cookies, was sitting up, smiling, completely mobile, eating a thing of chili and cheese and a bun. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, holy crap. I said, it's from the cannabis. And she said normally she would go to an opiate type medication. She said, if I could get these cookies all the time, I said, hell, girl, if I could be on the street 7 days a week, I would. We just it's not physically
One day
possible.
you might be, but not necessarily in your own physical beings. That your efforts might work into an everyday a week thing down the road. I don't think there's much avoiding that because the need is so great, and the demand for what you're doing is going to become so great as well because people are figuring it out. They're
Well,
figuring
people
out
are going, well, how are you going to keep up? The problem's going to get bigger and bigger. I said, look, man, if I can help just one person and save them from an overdose today, or it can make them open their minds to say, you know what, maybe cannabis can be just all I can need, it's worth it.
If you're touching over
it's
40
worth
people,
it.
you're touching dozens of people, a couple times a week after.
Oh yeah, they know us. They
It's,
will run after us with an entire shopping buggy full. Hey, we're coming! Don't leave us behind! And they'll be like, hey, we're over here. I said, it's okay, buddy. We were going to meet you over here anyway.
And these are the poorest people in our world. These are the poor people that didn't survive their childhood properly. They're
The rich
traumatized.
I've never seen people that share more with anybody than their friends. They'll say, oh, I can't take 2. I don't want to take from someone who
Because
doesn't need
they
it.
understand how much
And I
their
s-
friends need things too.
Yeah, and I said,
know?
buddy, you need it. He goes, boy, I really couldn't take a
If the
second
government
sandwich.
would come and have a look at what we're doing here and see the profound joy in the people who are receiving what they're receiving, if they have a heart, if they had a conscience, they'd be like, we need to make this available to everybody that's suffering like that. But they don't even want to come and look
They don't.
because they don't want to know because that's not their job. Their job is to make sure that they maintain these government minimums on
I mean,
what
I
what
can't
can be
drop
sold
names,
for.
but I spoke to a member of a legislation that was eating our cookies. I'm not saying who you are if you see this, but it was an
We're
anonymous
here-
member of legislature.
We're here in this
Eats cannabis.
space, which was our storefront, because one of the city councilors' mothers was in great need of cannabis edibles
Yeah.
and couldn't find them, and we were giving them away at Van Du, and so she put forward a motion to support what we were doing, so that her mother could get access to these things in some reasonable way down the road. It still hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Bridget. I look forward to talking to you again and seeing where you're at in another 6 months. It's been wonderful to have you people on board.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. I'm so glad I met you that day in the park.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Well,
Heart of gold, my friend. That's all I can say.
Well, it's when people come and thank you every day for what you're doing, it really makes your heart.
It kind of makes it easy to give someone nice hot
It
chili in
grows
their
your
cold
heart.
hands, right?
It grows your heart, and you want to help more, and it becomes addicting. Helping people and realizing that what you're doing is making somebody's day that really was miserable. It's addictive.
And this is crazy. The guy said, "I can't believe you're out here. It's pouring with rain." I says, "Buddy, if you were in here, I ain't coming out."
Yeah, yeah.
I said, "I can go home and dry off."
Yeah.
Like, hello?
Yeah.
You ain't got a place to dry
That's
off,
right,
buddy.
exactly.
So for me to put a bowl of red hot chili in your hands and a bun and some cheese, like, why wouldn't I do that? I have my own kitchen.
No,
You know what
I was
mean?
asked
got
if
a
we were
roof
going to be
over
open
my
on
head.
Christmas. I said addiction doesn't take a break on Christmas, and those people are still there.
Yeah.
So we're going to go take a break while those people are still there? I don't think so.
Oh, sorry, we're closed. We're spending time with our
Yeah.
family. But hey, have a good one.
Yeah, I wish you had a
no.
family to spend with time
Yeah, I
with
wish
too,
you had
you know.
someone to, sit around
We'll
the
be back
Christmas
in a
tree
week.
and say kumbaya around the tree and all open up their presents. It doesn't work like that.
This is a very different thing going on.
It's very different. Yeah,
It's gonna-
exactly.
and it will change the world if it really catches on.
Yeah,
and it
one
should
cookie-
catch on.
You say one cookie at a time, right?
It should really catch on.
One bologna and cheese.
Because the world is in trouble and everybody knows it and they feel like that and they don't like it. They're depressed about it and they want to do something about it, but they can't because they don't know what to do. But when you find something to do, when you find something that makes a difference, that helps, well, that becomes very addictive. And if more people would realize that what they have in life is the time that they have, this moment, and how they feel, and that they could feel way better than they do if they were to be part of a solution instead of the problem, then the world will change. And people like Bridget and Gary and all the other people that are involved in this, Chris in Halifax, and even Mary with her big heart there. She's in Winnipeg now, and I know she still would love to help people like she was when she was here. So many of these people that have made this happen, that have made it a reality, they're all furthering the model. And as the model gets increased, more and more people will realize the value in giving back and in helping the people that are less fortunate. And their lives will be enriched, and the less fortunate's lives will be enriched. And maybe we can get out of this greed-based, fear-based, alcohol-based, anger-based world that we're in that profits all of those corporations that want to profit on people's misery. And maybe we could have a world where public servants are really public servants and they're limited, accountable, transparent, and recognizing that their role is to protect the weakest of us, not the strongest of us. They're not there to support the corporations. They don't need help from the government. They seek it. They pay large for it, but they don't need it like these people need it. They don't need it like the poor people need it. And governments should be here for the poor people, not here for the rich people. Maybe we can make these changes as we move forward. In any case, I think we have mobility on the camera.
Yep.
We have a few minutes left before 6 o'clock. Let's go just check in with the RV.
Hopefully it wasn't a little long-winded.
Oh, it's okay.
Well, here we are at downtown east side of Vancouver for our weekly THC weather report. And it's not anywhere near as bad as what they said it was going to be. Oh, there we are. Now I'm all lit up.
There you go.
I'm lit.
Yeah, you're lit, buddy.
I'm lit. We were supposed to have 3 days of a atmospheric river. We had the bulk of it come through last night and yesterday. And today it's been not completely rain-free, but just little mists, little bits of light stuff coming down. No heavy rain at all. So that's all great. The temperature's gone back up, so it's not freezing real bad now anymore. But it does get dark pretty early. It's just the time of year for that. In any case, here we are with the Healing Wave CSP RV in full operation, and let's go say hi to the peeps.
Hi, peeps.
This is we are our own media. When the media won't pay attention to what you're doing, and it's important, you try to do what you can. So this is a very busy road. Cars come up and down here all day long. One of the main arteries in and out of Vancouver, and they get to read our signs. They get to figure out what it is that we're doing here, and that we're helping.
That guy was just pointing at your sign.
Yeah. Very good. All right. How you doing, sir? Wow, everybody. How you doing? Oh, yeah?
That's big.
Wanted to post the joint as a pre-roll this one time.
Absolutely, buddy. Let's
You can
go.
do that. You can be a tester for us.
Thank you.
All right.
Sorry, table's a bit of a mess.
By the way, we're filming here on Pot TV, so I don't know if you want to be on Pot TV or not.
I don't have it on him right now.
I don't have a glass
Well, good seeing you, Derek. God bless and have a good day, man.
Okay. How are things going in here?
Never better.
Never better.
Never better.
Every
This is the
day-
best day ever of all
Every
time.
day is a better day than the day before. That's been going on for years here.
Turn the music on.
I was cleaning, that's why. Gotta have music on when you clean.
Yeah, me too.
You see, we got some street
certainly
art.
do.
It's a little bit strange, but it's very interesting looking street art over there.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah, it's an interesting one.
Absolutely. So this has been home for us for quite a while. We've had
could
this
you
RV for
pass me,
I don't know how long now.
15, sticky.
But it's the third in a series. We've been over 3.5 years in the RV. Well,
these are
3.5. No, so not over 3.5 years in the RV. Over 3 years in the RV. Over 3.5 years on the block here, if you count the storefront. But for 3 long years, we've been doing our work from an RV. We carry stuff out here in the morning and load up the stock, and then we take it all down at night and put it all away. And day after day we wait, hoping that at some point the government is going to recognize that the right thing to do is to support us and allow us to expand what we're doing and help more people even, and that should happen. But it hasn't so far, and it's been a long time of demonstrating the profound value day after day and proving that there's no negatives to it to be worried about. Eventually, something's got to give. But the way that's got to happen is through you, through all of us, through what we're doing in the courts.
I misheard the last thing.
You can help. You can be part of this. You can simply write a letter from your heart and express how you think the government should be dealing with this situation and with what we're doing here, and send it off to as many people as you can think of that it might influence. And that's something you can do. I highly recommend you do something. I go on about it a little too much. I'm not hard sell when it comes to asking for donations, but I'm a bit of a hard sell when it comes for asking for people to donate a little bit of their time and energy to just try to help us in our movement here. Because it's really important for the future of humanity that the corporate powers that be don't get to continue to have their way with ordinary people. Because the future that's leading us into, with their ability to survey people and influence government, it doesn't bode well for the average person. So I do give a bit of a hard sell on taking part in what we're doing. Be part of the program. Be a member of the crew, not just on a vacation. Life is serious.
No loiter.
Look after your family first. Look after yourself first. Look after your community next. Do what you can to make the world a better place. You will be benefited by it, and the world will be benefited by it. Write a letter, make a phone call, street art, whatever you can do. In the meantime, that's pretty much it for another episode of the THC Show. We've rolled it around like we normally do. We've talked about the things we normally talk about. We're giving you a little bit of a glimpse into what's going on in the Newton CSP and some of the others, and those places so need your support. They need donations. They need help. Halifax, Surrey, Newton, Langley, all of these places could really use your help. If you can help them, please do. In the meantime, life is short. It's serious. It's way too serious to take too serious. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to those people around you and that come into your space. Always be kind. Don't only be kind randomly. That would be silly. Why would you do that? Be kind all the time. But most important, your life is your only life. Your life is short. Your life has opportunities, negative and positive. Choose the positive. Have as much fun as you can. I'll see you next week.